Kia ora. So we're going to jump into an exciting, disruptive, daring type of subject where we're going to dare to reframe how we look at the concepts commitment and consistency. Why are we going to do that? Well, it's been top of mind for me because this has been a journey, a roller coaster ride. Whenever I look at how I'm doing whenever I measure what I'm doing by how consistent I am or my level of commitment to what I'm doing, it always ends in me sitting there going, oh, not feeling good enough is how it ends in. And I want to, in this conversation, I want to explain why that is. It's because I believe, right now, I believe that how we are looking at these concepts of commitment and consistency is linear. It's all about what are we doing? Do, right? And like, what are we doing? Commitment to what we're doing. What I want to introduce here is the possibility of what if, what if in these moments that maybe yourself, have felt like you haven't been committed enough, you haven't been consistent enough, what if your eyeballs were just on the wrong thing? What if we just reframed? And that's what reframe means, is we're looking here and we just want to switch our frame of view. What if we reframed how we look at commitment and consistency and then start to look at it in a way that actually empowers us? Now, my kind of what I think when I think about insanity is doing, and this is actually like a quote, but it goes along the lines of it's like doing the same shit over and over again, getting the same result, but expecting it to change by doing the same thing. Now, for me, I sat there and I was like, I'm sitting here, end of month, every so often, looking at how committed I am, how consistent I am, measuring myself based on what I'm doing and how consistent and committed I am to what I'm doing. And it just leaves me feeling like shit every single time. Why is that? I cannot possibly go another round of looking at my life like that. I've got to go. So I went back to the drawing board, and this is what I've come up with. I'm like, we need, through my research and through my, looking at the patterns and working with clients, um, we need to start reframing how we look at things overall. And that's a big part of what I'm here to do, based on the patterns that I see and through my experiment and experience, and also through working with clients and just having the strong relationships that I do that afford me people letting me in on their own patterns and their own experiences. So today in this video, we're going to look at these two concepts, and my intention, my desire, what will be really, really cool is that you walk away with a new outlook or a new frame to see through. Frame, like we're going to change the frames and we're going to put on new frames and how to look at commitment and consistency, because quite frankly, the old ones, let's just say I had old glasses on, they're not working because it's just not sustainable to keep looking at it through a lens that makes us feel like shit. So I'm going to just add this in here. When I decided to take on the commitment to live as a human design projector and to understand what that meant for me, and to study and experiment working in alignment with my energy through human design and the study and understanding and mastery of gene keys, I knew that I was in for. I knew high level what I was in for. What I was saying yes to was, I've been conditioned all 30 plus years of my life to behave, communicate, act this way. And from that day I made that commitment, I knew that there was going to be ways in which I communicated, behaved, acted, moved in the world in a new way. And I knew that way and this way there was going to be some differences. But I was committed to that journey. You see what I mean? Every day I'm committed to that journey. That's what I do. I am committed to being truthful about this human experience and supporting others to do the same. So what does that mean? It could mean, and part of my mind is like, are you making half the shit up just so you can like feel good about not being committed and consistent sometimes? Maybe. Or am I giving grace to myself and a lot of us out here that say we're going to do something and then we don't do it. And then what happens? We end up sitting there having a real pity party or a real like deep, moment with ourselves where we feel inadequate. Like we actually start to feel inadequate. Oh, should we reframe that? Because I've got some things to share. If you're here for that, let's go. As I said, 8 years of being in Unearth Your Worth, creating an online business, working at the same time, working with clients, going through their up and downs, consistency and commitment have always sort of been two important measures. But as I said, the way that I would look at them didn't leave me feeling very good. For example, I'm the queen of changing my Instagram handle. Okay. Like, I just have to laugh about it at this point, but my Instagram handle changes monthly, if not fortnightly, if not weekly. Just it changes all the time. And I created this model, and I've often spoken about this. Confidence, clarity, consistency. That's what you need. Well, I didn't have one of those, did I? And therefore, I didn't have consistency because everything would be changing. What I was doing, what I was up to, my name's on Instagram, my focus, my brand, it would always be changing. Yeah. And so I had this story of, or this model of, if you're not consistent, then you're not clear. So then that's a problem because now through my own model that I made up, I'm not clear. And when you're not clear, people don't have confidence in what you do. And you appear to not have confidence. So now I'm like, oh no. I created this model of success. You just need consistency, and then you'll be clear about what you do and people will have confidence. And I didn't have any of that. So now we've got a problem. And this is where I mean it felt deep, like a ton of bricks. That I wasn't operating in this way that I deemed makes me successful. Instead, I was just sitting there looking at this framework going, oh, it ain't me, right? I'm not doing that. And now I feel like shit. What I was missing was this. I was in the weeds. My view was in the weeds. What do I mean by that? I'm going to explain that because one of my best friends, she used that. And I'm like, what does that mean? In the micro details, day to day, in the weeds. If you think about being in a position, it's the shit you got to do every day, and it's just like email and projects and admin and blah, 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 doing all the things. And there's in the weeds means you're not, yeah, seeing a wider perspective because you're in the weeds. And that's where I was. How consistent am I with how I'm showing up online? How consistent am I with sending out emails? How consistent, committed am I? How consistent am I with doing this? Oh, and then I let my measures of consistency, I let that determine how com like how determine how committed I was. So then I would make that mean, oh, because I'm not consistent, I'm not committed, which is absolute bullshit. I've never met anybody as committed to their mission. Well, I've met people. I know when I meet people like me who are committed to their mission. This is an every single day. I'm an open learner every single day. Life is the university for me. And then I use these modalities and these codes, and I look at, and I'm constantly every day collecting data and finding the patterns that will help us to be more empowered and more free. That's me every single day, like every single day. That's me. There's learnings in everything, and I'm always present to them. So I started to go, actually, that model, it's not my commitment is not off. It's this thing that I'm looking through. It's this framework that I'm looking through. It's this meaning that I've made. Then I started looking into my human design and gene keys, and I see that in the realm of my vocation, like who I'm here to be, I'm a line 3. Now, what that means, you may not know, but it validates exactly what I'm talking about. That a line 3 has a special relationship, particularly with the words commitment and consistency. We ain't committed in the weeds. We will start something and then drop it as fast as we pick it up. And then we're on to the next. It's about the experiences form the clarity. The experiences form the clarity and the confidence. And so we ain't stuck on one thing for ages. We're experimenting, we're tasting, we've got options. We're num num num, spit it out, go here. It looks like we're not committed. We're not committed to the weeds. We're not committed to one single thing. When I learned this about myself through these modalities, I was like, I knew it. But before I read it in the chart, I felt it in my being. I felt my body. I felt it being correct that I'm stopping this thing and moving to the next, that I'm stopping here and moving here, that I'm stopping that and moving back here. I felt correct. I felt safe in my being for making those shifts and changes. But my conditioning was like, what are you up to? What doing? What zip, zip, what doing? We need to follow a linear path. When I talk about, I'm just going to take a little, I'm going to emphasize that point about taking a linear path. When I talk about Indigenous thinking versus non-Indigenous thinking, Indigenous thinking is cyclical. It has a beginning like the weather, like the seasons, a beginning, a spring, a summer, an autumn, a winter, a spring. Hopefully I went in the right order with that. Woo! Cyclical. There is a beginning and there is an end. And then there is a beginning and then there is an end. And there is a detachment to the end. There is an openness to the beginning. Linear thinking is go, go, grow, 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 more, better, go, go, longer, better, stronger, go, 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 go. That's not natural. Linear thinking is as you progress in the linear fashion, you should trend up. You should grow more, have more, know more, do more, be more. More, more, more as you go along. a good example of this is every time, so I choose to work at the moment for companies. I choose to like be employed as well as have my business. And I do that because I experiment a lot, right? And so my shit's not always consistent, but it allows me to be so secure in like everything, grounded, everything. My video's playing up. Um, Hopefully the video looks all right. So I go through this thing where people don't understand my choices in career because exactly that. It looks like you should start off here and then here and then here, and then you should trend upwards as you move straight forward in a linear fashion. My CV didn't look like that. I started out as a rep, and then I became a team leader, and then I became team leader in another company, and a team leader coach, and then I went back to an individual contributor where I just took care of my own sales results. And then I looked after the team. And then I went back to an individual contributor in another company. So it doesn't make sense. I had a discussion just today, and I said to the person, look here, she asked me about that. I actually brought it up, and she's like, yeah, thanks for bringing that up, because I was wondering about like the nature of like your journey for your career. And I said, and I just told her what I just told you then, like I go where it feels correct. And I was like, look, I don't know if that makes sense, or if I should have even have said that. Um, and then she summed it up. She was like, no, you go where you're intuitively led. And I was like, yes, yes, I do. I was like, you feel me? And I was like, oh, that just brought us closer. So that mode of thinking, that linear pattern of thinking versus cyclical, they're very different. And so what if that in the weeds, in the doing of the doing the do, when we're doing the admin, so I'm an online business owner, so I have to manage my back-end systems. I also have to manage, being out and putting out a message into the world online. Then I have to also deliver and maintain and cultivate beautiful spaces where I can work with my clients. So behind the scenes, the sales and the marketing of the message and of the invitation, and then the delivery of the solution. That's all me. And so I work, and then I work on top of that. Okay. And it's all about working smart for me. There's a lot going on. And then I've got this energy where if that's not working, or I feel called to go here, and I trust that it feels correct, I'm gonna go. And so rather than me measuring how I'm doing or how committed I am by measuring my actions, my consistency in what I'm doing in the weeds, what if, and this is what I do now, what if I always come up out of the weeds, come up for a breath, and look at the bigger picture of how consistent I am to the kaupapa. Now, if you are not Māori, then I'm going to explain what kaupapa means, and I want you to hear that came from my chest. And kaupapa comes from our chest. Kaupapa means the cause or the mission. Okay? It's similar. I'm going to say there's similar ties to our Hawaiian Kanaka brothers and sisters when they use the word kuleana. Kuleana means responsibility. Kaupapa has a responsibility. This is not just, I'm not getting this passionate, right, for selling software. Right, I'm not getting this passionate for selling software. That is not kaupapa for me. It might be the founder's kaupapa. It might, but I'm not bringing that kind of passion with my chest for selling software. Just, and I'm not saying anything I wouldn't say to anyone's face. I'm comfortable with saying that because I know that kaupapa comes from, like, kaupapa is a responsibility to the collective. So, what if we looked at our commitment to our collective kaupapa as the guide? Okay, I might be, spinning around, going 2 steps forward, 3 steps back, changing what I'm doing down in the weeds, changing my approach, changing my Instagram handle down here in the weeds. But is that all? Is there, is there, are you on the kaupapa still? Are you committed to that kaupapa? Yes, kapai. Are you learning? Kapai means great, good. Is everything you're learning about how, everything that you're learning, is that helping the kaupapa? Yes, kapai, good. That's how I look at it now. Because I tell you what, I couldn't go on if I had to keep looking at what I'm doing day to day. Like, I'm working in a job, for example. Oh, so you're not consistent in business. You're not consistent with your clients. You're not consistent with your leads. You're not consistent with your, like, that was, I'm like, yeah, but I'm consistent to the kaupapa. I'm honoring the kaupapa, like I'm learning, I'm evolving in my own way, like I'm beginning, I'm learning, and then parts of me are ending, and then I'm beginning and I'm learning. Like, there's seasons to me. I'm doing this. And then my mind's like, yeah, but you're not consistent. You know, your brand online. Your brand online is confusing. It's not clear. Therefore, nothing. Our commitment to the kaupapa is what is paramount. And how we honor those commitments, and how, that consistency of committing to the kaupapa is more important than our consistency to committing into the weeds. Now, let me go into an example of this. The reason why I wanted to make this video is because I have a schedule which for my putting out my emails, so my email newsletter. Well, my newsletter was going out on the 31st of May. It's the 6th of June, and it's going out today. I feel not 1 ounce of guilt in my body for not putting that out on the 31st, because there were genuine reasons. I wasn't just sitting around fucking around and I couldn't be bothered. I was like, genuinely, there was a situation, and I don't feel nothing. I feel happy in myself that I did not force myself during such a time when my body was not capable, that I didn't force myself to get up and write the email newsletter. In fact, nowadays I would be disheartened if I had have stopped my body from taking the rest that it needed to take, because I just, gone through some big stuff. I would have been disappointed in myself almost if I had have taken myself out of that space and brought myself in front of a laptop just to force myself to take this action, to do, and disregard the what my body actually needed. I would be disappointed if I did that. And I did that for years. I would do that for years. Early on in my business, I would do, and disregard the way my body was feeling and what my body was telling me. See, through committing to the kaupapa of understanding who I am and how I am designed to operate, it's brought me in closer relationship with my tinana, with my body, with my hinenara, my mind, and my, and my wairua, my spirit. And now I'm a do, slow, go, stop, flow, slow. I'm a cyclical kind of girl, and I listen. I listen versus disregard. And that's sometimes going to mean that I'm not going to be consistent, even for my own like deadlines and things. But what I've learned over the last 4 years of working this way, especially with clients, is that whenever I honor what's correct for my body and my energy in that moment, it's always correct for the other person and vice versa. When people reach out to me and say, hey, Jada, I cannot today, like, he no mawiwi aho, like, I'm very sick, or, it's just not happening. We're not here. We're not there today. I can't do it today. You know, it's always correct for me. There was some part of me that was like, you know what? It ain't the day. And a lot of us in Te Ao Māori, like being Māori, there is a renewed and invigorated um, drive to living in accordance with the maramataka, which is the cycles of the moon. And so a lot of the time we look at that and we factor in, okay, when will we have wānanga, when will we meet, or when will we, do certain things. We should probably avoid whiro, the full moons, and we should, do it when there's a more appropriate time according to the maramataka. So it's all of this. What I'm trying to say, if you only hear this, it's coming back into living in closer alignment with nature. And that starts with our choices to either continue to just go, go, go and disregard and force, or to take the hits and start learning about how to listen, how to do, and then slow, and then go, and then stop, and then slow, and then go again. What I'm liking seeing at the moment out there online is people normalizing just being gone from offline, like I did that. And I'm seeing those that have been really kaupapa driven in the last, before COVID and everyone was online, some of the people that I've seen online for years, they're just gone underground for a bit. And it's really beautiful to see. It's really nourishing. I've seen other Pacifica businesses being like, oh, hey, just explaining why we weren't online or why we're not online so much. We need to take care of this and that. Like normalizing that is really cool. And then when we do come back, we've got the fire to give. So yeah, let's normalize our commitment to who we are being, and being someone who can come up for air and see the bigger picture, that we are committed to the kaupapa, and seeing how we're committed to our kaupapa. Now, if we're not, right, well then that's another wānanga. And that's okay. Maybe not being committed to that kaupapa is what you need right now also. Okay? But choosing to come up for air, get out of the weeds, and stop judging ourselves and measuring ourselves by how consistent we are with the day-to-day things. And instead coming up for air like a responsible leader, right? Giving ourselves grace and being a bit more like going a bit easy on ourselves. Come on. And coming up for air and seeing that we are still on kaupapa, that we are committed to the kaupapa, we're committed to our cause, and we are consistent in that every day, and really acknowledging ourselves for that. And then understanding that when we're in the weeds, if we're not consistent, there's got to be a reason for it, right? And yeah, so normalizing our commitment to who we're being. Are we a being that disregards what our body's saying, or are we a being that listens and is in tune with our inherent nature? Versus normalize, so we want to normalize, who we are being, our commitment to who we're being in the kaupapa, versus normalizing this forced commitment to what we should be doing. Because that just leads us into depression and places that are not conducive to hang out in. So, look, can I just get a ake on that, okay? If that made sense to you, leave me a comment below. That made sense. I would love to know that these videos are, conducive to your development, to helping you stand taller as a leader, or maybe sitting the fuck down as a leader sometimes too. Nah, Um, well, that just came out. She has a tendency to do that. But yeah, just like, does it help you is what I want to know, and if so, how? Um, yeah, really, I wanted this video to be 5 minutes. It's not, you know, whoops. But I trust you enjoyed it. Anyway, I'll catch you on the next video. E te whanau. Take care, eh?